Coming up next, we have the latest on a deadly state college shooting and criticism aimed at police and Penn State University over its communication to the public.
Also, we take a look at the science of salt and how it's used on area roads as another Arctic cold blast approaches. The Center County Report starts now.
And a very good afternoon. I'm Logan Westrow.
And I'm Cheyenne Oswald. Thanks for joining us. In the aftermath of a shooting in State College that left 4 dead, there are still questions about what led to the violence and the way police and Penn State University released information to the public. Chris Keating reports.
A shooting spree in State College last week left 4 people dead, including the accused gunman. The shooting began at P.J. Harrigan's bar at the Ramada Inn on Atherton Street. Police say 21-year-old Jordan Whitmer of Bellefonte opened fire at the bar, killing 62-year-old Dean Beachy and injuring Beachy's son and a young woman. He then took off, and after his car crashed, police say Whitmer broke into a home on Tussey Lane, killed 83-year-old George McCormick, and then took his own life. The next day, one of the other victims, Stephen Beachy, died.
A few days have passed since a shooting here at P.J. Harrigan's Bar and Grill, and the State College Police Department and Penn State University are still receiving backlash over their lack of communication on Thursday night.
Penn State University did not send out any emergency text or email alerts, even though for a short time an armed gunman was at large in State College. Borough Police also sent out no alerts through its push notification system and did not acknowledge the shooting on its Twitter account. Yet State College Police tweeted earlier that same day about nonviolent incidents, a $100 counterfeiting case, and a criminal mischief incident in a parking garage. At a media briefing the next day, Chief John Gardner explained why no alerts or tweets were sent.
Much of this information was already out on local TV or so due to social media and people tweeting and what have you. By the time I arrived on scene, much of this information was out by 11 o'clock.
But Gardner said in hindsight, the department should have alerted the public sooner.
If there's one thing I think we, or myself in particular as a police chief here, could have done better, it was to release information sooner that the threat had been eliminated.
The lack of an alert by Penn State sparked anger from students and families. The shooting happened just under 2 miles from the University Park campus, with a student population of more than 45,000. Penn State declined our on-camera interview request. A spokesperson sent us a statement saying the crime happened outside the campus in adjacent areas that fall under the Clery Act legal requirements for public notification. Yet the university has sent out alerts in recent months on other issues that also fall outside Clery Act locations, including construction on Atherton Street and traffic incidents on Route 322. Penn State said, quote, "After careful consideration based on the circumstances known to law enforcement at the time, location of the incidents, and the lack of an imminent threat to Penn State students or the campus, it was decided that an alert would not be sent." The spokesperson also told us other factors, not just geography, go into these case-by-case decisions on sending alerts. The university told us both Penn State and Borough Police were actively involved in the situation. That was little comfort to many students, parents, and local residents who say police and the university left them without information during an active shooter crisis. In State College, I'm Chris Keating for the Center County Report.
A vigil will be held for the victims at the Allen Street gates this afternoon from 4 to 5:30.
The federal government is finally back open following a 35-day partial shutdown, the longest in U.S. history. The shutdown had many federal employees living without pay. On Friday, President Trump announced a deal was reached to reopen the government for 3 weeks until February 15th. The plan does not include funding for the president's proposed border wall.
The special election to replace former 12th District Congressman Tom Marino will be held on May 21st, the same day as Pennsylvania's primary election. Candidates from both parties are already stepping up, and Tyler Olson has the story.
With Governor Tom Wolf's announcement last week that the 12th Congressional District special election will be held on May 21st, state political parties face a tight timeline to choose candidates to be on the ballot. Chris Ng, chairwoman of the Center County Republicans, is part of the group choosing a new GOP candidate and says fundraising is crucial in an abbreviated race.
I've talked with some of the candidates who have called me, and one of my questions is, what is their ability to raise money?
The 12th district is very red. Tom Marino won by 32 points in November. But Center County Democrats Chairman Greg Stewart says special elections can be unique.
Connor Lamb is a good example. when he first was elected during the special election, that was a very heavily Republican district.
The first person, and only Democrat so far, to say they'll run for Marino's seat was his 2018 opponent, Mark Friedenberg. The Penn State professor announced his campaign the same day as Marino's resignation.
You know, for me, the most important things are always the pocketbook issues. It's, you know, jobs, healthcare, and education.
When Friedenberg agreed to come speak at the Women's March at the Allen Street Gates, he thought he'd be doing so as a former congressional candidate. But with the resignation of Tom Marino, his talk turned into a stump speech for an upcoming special election.
We're going backwards in a lot of ways, and that has to stop.
Since 2016, Democratic candidates have won all 3 congressional special elections in Pennsylvania. They'll look to make it 4 for 4 this spring. 9 Republicans have filed for the party's nomination so far, including Doug McLinko, Marino's primary challenger in 2018. In State College, I'm Tyler Olson for the Center County Report.
Penn State law student Patrick Miller and Marine vet Chuck Vizzo from Boalsburg are the 2 Republicans from Center County to file for the nomination so far.
The numbers are in after the first full month of sports gambling in Pennsylvania. Regulators say sports betting wagered over $16 million at the state's 3 largest casinos for the month of December. A year-old state law allows ownership of any of the Pennsylvania's 12 casinos to pay a $10 million operating fee to allow sports betting. New Jersey, which legalized sports gambling last year, said its sports books took in $319 million in December.
Events and activities honoring Martin Luther King Jr. have wrapped up in our area. This week was full of events and activities dedicated to the civil rights leader's memory.
In 1983, former President Ronald Reagan signed a bill declaring January 15th a national holiday celebrating the birth of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Now Penn State University and Center County celebrates Dr. King's birthday with an entire week of events. Student Bailey Spates, a co-director of MLK Commemoration Week, has been working to expand the idea of King's dream on campus.
I think just from going to Penn State, they do whitewash Martin Luther King. I'm not being censored, they do. And so I just really feel like this year with our theme, A Tradition of Resistance, where do we go from here? I wanted to make sure that was embodied in our community service because a lot of kids come just to get hours, and it kind of made me mad because community service should be like from your heart.
Dr. Barbara Farmer, chairwoman of the MLK Plaza subcommittee, reflects on the growth she has seen in this country, from walking on Washington with Dr. King to entire communities being filled with diversity.
To come to understand that we need you to help change the thinking and the behavior that we are living in so that people who are coming in the future will know that there's a better way to be and do things, and we'll have a better society.
The final event of the MLK Commemoration Week was the celebration of life of Dr. King through performances in Schwab Auditorium.
Center County was also one of hundreds of communities across
the State College area saw one of its big
in the 3rd annual Women's March recently. Dozens gathered at the Allen Street Gates in downtown State College, holding signs and speaking about women's rights. The group, including women, men, and children, then walked to the Sidney Friedman Park to hear from other speakers. The event was organized by the Nittany Now and the Women's Strike International.
January has been an icy cold and snowy month here in Center County. Road crews have been keeping busy trying to keep things clear. Reporter Cooper Deck has more from Bellefonte.
more ice on Wednesday and Thursday. Preparing for and reacting to winter storms is a tricky business for PennDOT and county crews. You probably don't know the name Chris Maney, but he's an important man in your life if you drive area roads. He's the county maintenance manager in charge of ensuring roads stay safe. That requires short-term and long-term planning.
Ultimately, we will look at a 60-day, 90-day out type forecast. Being as right now we're in the middle of January, by this time next month, we're going to be looking towards spring.
Short-term storm prep has many moving parts, and of course the weather is always changing, as it did in last weekend's storm.
Midway through the storm, the Saturday night into Sunday, we got a lot of rain. So the rain helped in the fact that it packed the snow down, also gave a crust to the snow, which was not expected.
Crews have several options to treat roads, from plows to a salt brine treatment.
If we use regular salt, the dirt would filter out to the bottom of the tank in our brine maker, and then you have to clean it out more often, and it just makes a mess.
Trucks need to treat 39 routes in the District 2 area.
So for many working in the Department of Transportation, this job, especially during the winter, turns into a 24/7 around-the-clock job to ensure that the roads are safe to drive on for the residents of Center County.
And with almost 2 more months of winter to go, chances are they'll stay busy. In Bellefonte, I'm Cooper Deck for the Center County Report.
Salt is one of the keys to keeping local roads ice-free. Coming up, a closer look at the science of salt and how it is used during the winter.
And weather anchor Patrick Wright is here to tell us about more Arctic cold weather moving in. Also, we're going to head to the ski slopes to check out how the season is going so far in central Pennsylvania. Please stay with us.
With another Arctic blast of Arctic air coming this week, we may see more icy roads around the area. Crews use a lot of salt to keep roads clear, but how much do you know about how salt works? I decided to find out. You see it everywhere in the winter. It's on the roads and the sidewalks, often before a storm hits. Road salt is typically the go-to preparation when crews treat roads hours before a storm's arrival. The goal is to lower the freezing point of the snow. Instead of waiting for temperatures to warm up to 32 degrees, the wintry mix melts faster.
Basically, if you can get anything to dissolve in water, that will lower the freezing point of the water. Salt is particularly good because a lot will dissolve.
In fact, road salt used on roads contains the same chemical makeup as the salt you use on food. The only difference is the size of the salt crystals. Now here in smaller parking lots, they tend to use more rock salt. As they head out onto the main roads and highways, you tend to see more brine as it is more cost effective. PennDOT has budgeted $228 million to cover this winter weather. That number is based on an average of the past 5 winters' expenses.
Depending on what kind of precipitation we're expecting, then we might be pre-treating a roadway, we might be mixing salt with anti-skid, or we may just be applying straight salt.
Last winter, PennDOT used more than 950,000 tons of salt and 622 tons of anti-skid material.
The biggest thing that we want to share with drivers is that if they do not need to drive, the best choice they can make is to not drive.
In State College, I'm Logan Westrup for the Center County Report. Scientists are still searching for eco-friendly alternatives to use during future winters.
Ski season is in full swing in central PA, but it was questionable during our mild winter with the little snow until this month. Reporter Haley Curtis has a story from Tussey Mountain.
It's Center County's closest ski resort, Tussey Mountain in Boalsburg. With 7 trails and 50 acres, it attracts skiers and snowboarders from all around central PA. But with a summit elevation of only about 1,800 feet, sometimes Tussey is at the mercy of Mother Nature. This season's weather was mild and mostly snow-free until after Christmas. But with January's cold, Tussey has been making snow and getting natural powder too. That has more people hitting the slopes.
Skiing is a great family sport. If you can get your kids out, start taking some lessons, get them when they're young, even if you're older and you want to start skiing, it's a great thing to do with your family.
When snow isn't falling, Tussey kicks on its snowmaking machines. The temperature needs to be below 30 degrees. After considering other factors like dew point and humidity, artificial snowmaking can start. But a mild winter and the rain can't stop true skiers and snowboarders from coming out to Tussey Mountain and treading the trails. And with another Arctic cold shot on the way, ski season will continue for a while here in Center County. In Boalsburg, I'm Haley Curtis for the Center County Report.
Tussey Mountain is usually open through mid-March. And now here's Patrick Wright with the weather.
A good sunny day out there in State College, so if you're heading out for a lunch rush right now, or even just heading out to Tussey Mountain later on, or at least in the next couple of days, well, the sun is shining for now. Snow down in the valley at some of the farmland down here. It kind of looks like serene, but once you get out there, it's a little cold. Temperatures around the region right now, 21 here in State College, 19 over in Altoona, 19 up in Clearfield, and then heading out to the rest of the state, well, 20 up in Erie and 27 in Pittsburgh, and looking over at Philadelphia, 31 31 degrees, and that's going to be the warm spot on the map. But what can we expect for the next couple of days? But first, I'm going to take a look at the satellite and radar. We do have some clouds moving in as we head throughout the rest of the day for the futurecast. By tomorrow morning, we do have the snow moving in, so you will see a fresh blanket of snow as you wake up and walk out the door. So moving this forward a little more, the snow moves out pretty quickly, and then we just see the clouds decreasing throughout the day tomorrow and into Wednesday with a few snow showers here and there. The forecast for today, we do expect a high of about 30 degrees, increasing clouds throughout the day. And then by tonight, we do expect a low of 24, and then the temperatures drop once the snow moves through tomorrow. So your 7-day forecast, here's what we can expect. 9 degrees for a low Tuesday night, and then Wednesday only getting to a high of 12 degrees. So we are getting ready to break. We are threatening some records here for a record low-high temperature. It's a bundle to say, but then we have -3 for a low as we head into the day on Thursday. So this is what the rest of the weekend looks like. We do dry out, but we do get very cold as we head into the weekend. So Punxsutawney makes his prognostication this weekend, so if you're heading out, I would bundle up just a little bit.
Now it looks like we'll see even possibly colder temperatures than what we saw last week, and maybe a warm up at the end?
Just a little bit. We will have to keep an eye on that, but we do warm up back to above freezing by the end of the weekend.
That is some good news to hear. Now here's Tommy Butler with sports.
Penn State men's hockey had a critical trip to New York City to take on Michigan over the weekend. That's coming up in sports. Plus, we check in on the recent success of the women's hockey team at Penn State. That's after this break. I'm Tommy Butler with sports. 15th ranked Penn State men's ice hockey snapped its four-game losing streak on Saturday with a 5-2 win over the Michigan Wolverines at Madison Square Garden. The Nittany Lions are now 14-10-2 on the season and will be back in action at Pagula Ice Arena this Friday and Saturday as they host the Minnesota Golden Gophers. The puck drops at 6 p.m. for both games, and you can catch the action on Penn State's Com Radio. Penn State women's hockey travels to Princeton tomorrow night for a game against the Tigers. The Nittany Lions have lost only one of their last 7 and are now at 500 on the season, putting them in a good position this late in the season. The Penn State women's ice hockey team is 2 games into its 3-game road trip. Since the start of December, the Nittany Lions have earned at least 1 point in 6 of their last 7 games. Junior netminder Jenna Brenneman is on the cusp of Penn State history. She's earned 2 shutouts during the hot streak, bringing her season total to 4. She's now tied for a program season record with Celine Whitlinger, who hit that mark for Penn State in the 2015 season. Sophomore phenom and last year's CHA Rookie of the Year Natalie Heising scored both goals in Game 2 of the recent home sweep of Lindenwood to give her team a comeback win. Having seen her break several Penn State scoring records in her freshman season and continued improvement this year, Coach Jeff Campersall is well aware of how dominant she can be on the ice.
I actually love all the players that we have, but we could use some more Natalie's too, just to take the pressure off her.
Heising leads the team with 23 points in 25 games. Only team captain Kelsey Crow beats her in any offensive category with a team-high 12 assists. In his second season as head coach, Campersall has already had a positive effect on the quality of play from the team, and the Lions hope to finish the season strong. Tomorrow's trip to Princeton marks the second time Campersall will coach against his former school. In last year's reunion, his Nittany Lions lost 3-0. The top-ranked Penn State wrestling team remains undefeated after sweeping Purdue and Indiana last weekend. The Nittany Lions are now 9-0 and are back in action at 7 tomorrow in their sole match at the Bryce Jordan Center as they welcome the Michigan Wolverines. That's all for sports. Now back to you at the
Thanks, Tommy. Coming up next, learn about a new space in downtown State College designed to be a hub for local innovators. A creative-minded Penn State is working to bring space for innovation to Center County. His goal is to involve the whole community. Reporter Emanuela Blanc has the story.
You should experience something unexpected, something surprising, something that jars you a little bit about what is State College all about.
Spud Marshall's a 31-year-old entrepreneur who has lived in State College for 12 years. After graduating, Marshall launched the New Leaf Initiative, a co-working space in downtown State College.
One of the big things that we started hearing from folks was, we need a dedicated space where the arts and the innovation community can really thrive, right? How do we amplify the efforts that so many people are doing across our county and give them a space where they can call home?
He founded the organization and says he hopes to help others make a positive change in the world.
Part of our intention is to actually invite the community in to tell us, here's what we would love to see come out of this space, right? There's certain narratives that people think of when they think of State College, and our hope is that this space defines a totally new narrative.
Marshall and his team are launching a new Arts and Innovation Center downtown and are asking for help from the community, students, and entrepreneurs. Marshall wants anyone to join in on 1-hour design and idea meetings. Although the location is still quite empty, the location has a large amount of potential, and people are excited to see their ideas executed. The entrepreneur believes the space is a chance for everyone to get involved and add their own creative spin. In State College, I'm Emanuela Blanc with the Center County Report.
Now, Marshall isn't sure when the space might be completed.
Thanks for joining us this afternoon. That's all for today's newscast. You can find out more of our stories on our website at thecentercountyreport.com.
And you can also follow us anytime for breaking news on our Twitter feed. That's at Center County REP, or on our Facebook page. We also have a Center County Report Instagram. Join us for our next newscast on Friday. Have a great day.